Hello and welcome back to another historic video. Today we will be taking a look at this mono white hammer deck who tries to use Colossus Hammer to make our little weenie creatures into 10/10 and up powered creatures and close out the game quickly. We have 4 Giver of Ruins and 4 Mother of Ruins to help give our creatures protection, to either snuff out removal on them or to allow them to attack past blockers. We also have 3 Esper Sentinel to play early and try and get some additional card draw if our opponent is trying to cantrip, or to slow down our opponent if they wait until they have mana to tap. This is one of the flex spots in the deck. You can replace it with another small creature or interactive card. Then for ways to get our hammer in our opening hand, we have 4 copies of Enlightened Tutor, which allow us to search our library for an artifact or enchantment and put it on top. And this will also allow us to get some of our hate pieces as well, which we can play one of. And essentially that makes each one of these tutorable targets a 5 of in the deck, because you have 4 copies of Enlightened Tutor plus the copy of the tutor target. We also have 4 copies of Stoneforge Mystic, which will allow us to search up our hammer, and then also its activated ability could allow us to put the hammer in play to get around things such as counter spells. Then to get around the hammer's equipment cost, we have 4 Kemba Outfitter, which can reduce the cost to equip down to 1 generic mana. We have 4 copies of Sigarda's Aid, which will allow us to equip it after being cast. And then we also have 2 copies of Forge Anew, which will allow us to equip it for 0 mana once per turn. And Forge Anew will also allow us to get a hammer out of the graveyard if it was discarded or destroyed earlier in the game. Then when it comes to our tutor targets for Enlightened Tutor, we have 1 copy of Portable Hole, specifically for decks like Minion of the Mighty, where it's important to have a 1-drop removal spell. We also have a Skrelv Defector Might as another protection creature. We can always grab a copy of Hammer. We have 1 Gingerbrute, which can be a hasty creature that our opponent is not expecting to get the last few points of damage across the line. 1 Grafdigger's Cage for artifact graveyard hate. 1 Hope of Giraffur for some of these counterspell decks. We can play things second main after connecting and sacrificing. It's also an invasive creature in the air. 1 Pithing Needle in case we need to turn off any of our opponent's activated abilities, such as a Planeswalker. And 1 Shadow Spear to grant trample and also lifelink to our creature. Also, as a tutor target, we have 1 artifact land in case we need an extra land drop. Then we're playing 1 Seat of the Empire, 12 Plains, 4 Inkmoth Nexus, which activates for 1 generic mana and is a 1/1 flying creature with Infect. And this Infect allows you to deal damage to creatures in the form of -1/-1 counters and to opponents in the form of poison counters. So if this connects with the hammer attached to it, it will deal 11 poison damage, winning the game on the spot. 1 other interaction to note with Inkmoth Nexus is when hammer's equipped to it, it loses its flying ability. But if you activate its activated ability a second time after hammer's already been equipped, it regains flying, so that could be useful to help get over some blockers that don't have flying or reach. And then we have 2 copies of Witch Enchanter, which can be used as a land or occasionally it can be cast on the front half to destroy an artifact or enchantment that our opponent controls. So that is the deck. Let's go ahead and jump into some games and see how it performs. Okay, here we have a pretty good opening hand. We will start out with Giver of Ruins and curve that into Stoneforge Mystic to tutor for our hammer, and if needed we can use Enlightened Tutor to try and get a 8-piece against our opponent's strategy. We can also keep up planes on turn 1, and that would allow us to search for Portable Hole to play on turn 2 if needed. That would really be most useful if our opponent is playing a minion of the Mighty deck. We'll set it up, keep stopping in case we missed it. Alright, here we'll play Stoneforge and go get Hammer. Holding up Giver of Ruins ability doesn't really matter in this situation too much because it can't protect itself, and we only need one creature to be able to attach Hammer to. So it looks like an aggro deck from our opponent. They're going to be in a bit of trouble here. We will play Hammer and go to Stoneforge. We'll swing for 11. This time we'll keep Giver up just in case they have some white removal that they can use on Stoneforge. Third land from our opponent. They have multiple colors of blockers here, so we can't just give protection from their single blocker. Here they're going to go for Hammer most likely, but we have another Stoneforge to tutor up another one. And actually we're going to use Enlightened Tutor because we can do that at instant speed. And we'll go grab another Hammer. We'll see if our opponent wants to trade their Paw Patch Recruit. And since they're taking the damage, we will play out the Hammer and then also the Tapped Witch Enchanter, which will allow us to play Forge Renew next turn, which will allow us to move the Hammer at instant speed. Seeking the Beast from our opponent into a creature and a pump spell. Only 2 mana available. And they go for the creature. here what we can do is get some lifelink of our own. And hold up interaction. If our opponent doesn't attack, we can use Enlightened Tutor and go grab our portable hole. Otherwise, we might need to use Shadow Spear just for the life beam. It's backbreaking. Now we'll be forced to chump block and go grab the portable hole. Here we will put Shadow Spear on a Stone Forge, and we'll go to blocks. We'll block the Ember Heart. We'll block the Manifold Mouse, and we will trade with Paw Patch. And then after blocks have been declared, we will give protection to Stone Forge from red. Our opponent appears to be trying to figure out how combat with trample affects protection. Hopefully our opponent does not have any more removal spells. Fire up Restless Bowback. And they have a Heartfire hero. So we can survive this attack again. This is over 2. So we're going to have to use Portable Hole on the Sheltered by Ghost as opposed to the creature itself. Main phase, and we'll take it out there. And we will attack for 12. Trample will still deal damage to our opponent. And then second main, we can move our hammer over to Giver. And pass back. Questing Druid. And a land revealed. So it looks like we are in pretty good shape here. Another Ember Heart. They have no flying blockers, so Inkmoth Nexus will deal 11 poison to them next turn. And our opponent concedes. Good game. Alright, so this hand has the ability to tutor for hammer and also to reduce its equipment costs so that we can equip it. We do have some turn 1 plays as well. We will give it a try. This is one of the slower hands that we would keep. We will start out Mother of Runes. If our opponent does not remove it this turn, then this would be an invaluable tool in this matchup, seeing as how our opponent has Death Touch, and they will take it out. Alright, Sigard is E to get pickup. We'll grab our hammer. If our opponent doesn't play out more creatures, we can also try to go wide of them and drop 2 hammers in the same turn. But we will gladly take that trade. Inkmoth Nexus, another great pickup. And we'll go get another hammer. And we will play Kemba to reduce the cost of one of these. Alright. No need to rush into things here, so we can take our time. We'll play out Mother and Sigard as aid, and then pass back to our opponent. We can try and play a hammer here to bait out some interaction from our opponent. And then we will double block, trading off Kemba. Now our opponent is incentivized to take out some of our creatures, so we will sacrifice Mother and Sigard as aid. And that should be game. We also could have played out our land and done the same thing with Inkmoth, dealing 11 poison damage via Infect. Okay, here we have a hammer, but no way to equip it. So I think this is going to be a mulligan. This hand has both a hammer and a way to equip it. So we will keep it, and we will put back one of the sentinels. And I am actually going to hold up Enlightened Tutor here, so that we can cast the card that we tutor for, which is likely going to be Sigarda's Aid. Now it might be another hammer. We'll see what our opponent takes. My hand is quite redundant, because if they do take the hammer, we can still tutor for another one, which is what we'll do next turn. Lead here, Nexus, and Aid. Hope to dodge a second discard spell. Get lost, that's unfortunate. We'll take a regular draw step here and play out Sentinel. Explore onto it. Another Sigarda's Aid will take. So some form of control deck here by our opponent, most likely. A Momo to reduce the cost of their flyers. Those don't know, this is a recent printing from the Avatar set. And we'll get to draw that Sigarda's Aid. And then we draw into a Stone Forge, which we will tutor another hammer. We played Stoneforge here as opposed to Sigarda's Aid just because it's more mana efficient and missing some of our land drops. We want to make the move that's going to allow us to have better plays in the future. So we'll go get our third hammer here. One. We'll set the upkeep stop in case we need to tutor. Gilead will not save them. Damage. Just need to dodge removal for one more turn here. We have Sheltered by Ghosts. Let's see if they go for the Stoneforge or the hammer. They go for the hammer, which was a mistake. And they swing in. So without a blocker here, we can tutor up our hammer, our last hammer, in upkeep and try to cast it for the win. There it is. Good game. Alright, here we have an extremely aggressive opening hand. We will play Kemba on turn 1, reducing the cost of hammer, and if Kemba survives, then we'll try to swing in on turn 2 for 12 damage. This is always going to be a keep. And then we have Inkmoth Nexus as a backup plan if Kemba gets removed. So the thing we're really trying to dodge here is discard on the hammer. Looks like we have the poison deck from our opponent. I'm a bit of a poison deck as well. We'll swing for 12, and our opponent concedes. Quick game. Okay, here we have a lot of creatures and a way to tutor for hammer, but no way to cost reduce it or equip it. This will be a mulligan. This is great opening hand. And I'm actually going to throw back Stoneforge Mystic here. Our Enlightened Tutor is able to tutor for a creature if we need it, and also for interaction with our opponent. So I think it's just the better card. We'll make sure to set an upkeep stop in case we need to tutor before our draw. draw step, and swing for 12. Again, we'll set an upkeep stop in case it is needed, and it is Eldrazi from our opponent. Flesh Raker will not do. We will go grab a second hammer, and our opponent concedes. Okay, here we have a way to equip hammer, but no way to tutor for it. Unfortunately, this will be a mulligan. Here we have a equipment and a tutor, so we will give it a try. We would like to see another creature. A black land from our opponent. We'll get 8 down. Here we will play out our cage, and then we will use Enlightened Tutor in the upkeep, most likely to go grab a creature, but we'll see. Thoughtseize from our opponent. We can let that resolve. If they take Tutor, we'll play out Stoneforge. If they take Stoneforge, we'll play Tutor. We might even just take a draw step if they take Enlightened Tutor, since we're under no pressure at the moment. Tough decision for our opponent. And they take Stoneforge. So we will hold Tutor for now. And pass it back to our opponent. Deadly Dispute to draw and create a couple treasures. Rest, taking Forged Anew. We will grab Hammer. Alright, so there is our opponent's win condition. We will pass back to our opponent. If they attempt to discard us again, we will play out Hammer. We do have ways to reduce it or equip it once it's in play. Our opponent choosing not to play any of their white lands this game with the pathways, which is a bit interesting. I assume they can use Field of Ruin to go grab a basic plane.
Witherbloom is just as dark and musty as I remember.
Been a long time since I've seen a Professor Onyx cast outside of Standard.
Come on, there's gotta be something useful. Ugh.
Alright, there is a creature that we can equip Hammer to, but likely our opponent's hand is full of removal, so we probably won't even cast it without protection. See what our opponent is discarding here.
Never thought I'd miss
Lands.
the library.
We will get Hammer into play here. We're going to have to sacrifice our aid, so we might as well draw a card. And there is a tutor. Our tutable land is already in play. And Onyx Ultimate's next turn. We're going to have to hope for a good top deck. I don't think tutoring for our hasty 1/1 will make much of a difference here. And unfortunately, we do not find anything good. I don't think there's any series of top decks that'll get us out of a Onyx Ultimate.
There has to be an answer here.
Trespasser. And I think I've seen enough here. Black-white control decks with a lot of removal, discard interaction are one of our worst matchups. And unless you're able to get some protection down early or a cost reducer for Hammer where every one of your creatures becomes a threat, it can be quite difficult to beat this match. So, good game. Okay, here we have a great aggressive opening hand. Kemba reducing the cost of Hammer. Okay. A little bit of Hammer. Let's see if our opponent has removal. And try to swing for 12. They have a tutor of their own. Seam Rip, not going to do it here. So we will be able to tutor for our portable hole. And that should be it. We'll portable hole on Seam. Oh, that's an interesting choice. So in this case, we'll go grab our hasty ginger brew. And we will bolt in Witchblessed Meadow and the Hammer. Good game. Alright, so there you have it. This deck felt very strong. It's capable of extremely aggressive opening hands, such as a curve of Kemba's Outfitter and Hammer. And it also has a fairly strong mid-game as well. If you're able to reduce the cost of Hammer or get a Forge Renew into play, even if your opponent has some removal spells, you can continue to pressure their life total. Having Enlightened Tutor to be able to grab all these utility cards out of your deck felt very strong as well. And while we didn't see it today, Ink Moth Nexus with that combo kill is also very useful to have in your deck, where you can be quite far behind in a game and then all of a sudden out of nowhere you just win in one attack step. At the moment, I would say this is probably my go-to deck in Historic Best of One. Very versatile against the large field of decks that you can come up against. And I'll play around with some of these flex spots, and we'll revisit it in a couple weeks. So thank you for watching, and like and subscribe for more content.